and the Democrats in Congress are voting with the communists every single time. They're afraid of the communists. You look at it.
So the war's over?
The war is over. I do want to start by saying our last episode, I started at the very beginning by saying, everybody buy oil today, buy your gas today, go fill up your car. And then I ended the episode by saying, everybody go fill up your car. I've never felt more right about anything. Since we recorded that, oil has gone up 42%. I don't know if you just saw, but oil crossed $100 a barrel again this morning. Where I'm at, when we recorded the last episode, which was Saturday, gas was 3.05 a gallon, and right now it's 3.89 a gallon. So in 5 days.
Yeah, I heard something about our reserves are basically like 3 weeks away from running dry.
Yeah, we're in now. So Trump had said, we played the clip, but he had said that we had 4 weeks of reserves left, and we've still been using a little every week. So we have like 2 or 3 weeks left. But now somebody from the government came out and said, well, we think we can actually go a little bit lower. Like we had said, there was a minimum operating level. Like we can't let the tanks get below this amount because something with the pumps will run dry and it breaks things. But now we're coming out and we're saying, well, actually, we think we can go a little bit lower before we have to stop. So I don't know. Maybe we're going to run it dry. We'll
So we're
see.
gonna end up having to spend billions of dollars like fixing our reserve tanks.
Think so. So anyhow, it's all fine. Real quick, because we got to get familiar with the new strait. Not everybody in America, but everybody paying attention got to know the Strait of Hormuz over the last, 5, 6 months. We have a new strait that everybody needs to be aware of.
Bab Al-Mendeb.
Yeah, so I can't say that really well. Bab Al-Mendeb. So we have the Strait of Hormuz on the right side of the image there. That's the one we've all been looking at. The Red Sea is to the left of Saudi Arabia there. And Saudi Arabia has two ways of getting oil in and out of its country. One is through the Strait of Hormuz. They built a pipeline to go over to the Red Sea to be able to get it on ships over there. Now, it has to go out the south side where the Strait of Bab Al-Mendeb is. There is the Suez Canal to the north. The problem is when you fill up an oil tanker, it rides really low in the water, like when it's full, and it can't go through the shallow Suez Canal. So oil pretty much has to flow out the south side, and this is the route to get to Asia, where Saudi Arabia and Iran sell all of its oil. The Houthi rebels announced the other day that strait is closed to all Saudi ships. They didn't close it to all ships in general, just Saudi ships. Everybody kind of wondered, are they serious? Well, the very first night they hit and pretty much blew up two Saudi ships. There was all kinds of video of them on fire. We know the names of those ships. Some people are trying to say, well, it's still not confirmed. The Houthis are claiming they hit two ships. Now, we know the name of the ships. If it's not confirmed, it's because you're purposely not looking for the info.
Okay.
Anyhow, that right there, that's 10% of the world's product flows through that strait. I don't know what percent of oil it is, but it's a couple million barrels a day. That's going to affect things. So, welcome to the conflict, Houthis. Now, the Houthis, for this whole time, everybody's been saying, we got to make sure the Houthis don't get involved here, and they hadn't. Saudi Arabia, like 6 days ago, decided to attack them with missiles, just started hitting them. And everybody paying attention was like, why? What are we doing? Like, why would we purposely try to bring them into this? I don't know, but we did. And now they're in.
We did, or Saudi Arabia did?
Saudi Arabia did, but Saudi Arabia is part of the coalition that is us, Israel, and Oman, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain. Like, that's all that's the coalition against Iran.
And didn't we just allow Saudi Arabia to have nukes?
So I was going to get to that later, but that seems to be a fluid situation right now. Donald Trump announced the other day that he was striking a deal to allow them to have a civilian enrichment program for civilian nuclear energy and a possible path towards them having their own nuclear weapon. That was how it was phrased. A lot of people threw a fit about that for very good reason. Trump did come out and say this morning that he basically is re-clarifying that it's only for civilian. They're never going to have a bomb, which I don't believe. But also he's saying it's only if they join the Abraham Accords, which is peace with Israel. So basically, he's giving up our nuclear technology for Israel. Not shocking that we're doing that. Now, since you brought that up, though, let's cover this real quick. The reason we have not wanted Saudi Arabia, especially, but any of those countries to have a nuclear bomb is because then Iran can point at that and say, well, look, they have a bomb, so we need to develop a bomb. So our policy has been in general that none of those countries have a bomb because once you let one have it, they're all going to be wanting it.
Except the Dark Force.
Yeah, well, they don't officially. They've never admitted that they have bombs. We know they do. Everybody knows they do, but they're the
Yeah.
only country in the world that has nuclear weapons and has never admitted to it, and therefore is not part of any of the nuclear proliferation treaties.
Mm.
Um, but anyhow, the Saudi nuclear deal seems like it would have to go through Congress to be actually official, and it seems like there's a lot of pushback there right now. Who knows where it'll end up, but. I'm hesitant to make a big deal out of it right now because as soon as people started throwing a fit about it, Trump quickly changed the terms of it, and he just announced this morning that it has to be part of the Abraham Accords and all that. I don't know where this is actually going to go. Now, it is also important to say the Biden administration was in talks with Saudi Arabia about a possible nuclear program. Trump was before that, and I believe even Obama was before that. This has been talked about for a long time for whatever reason, Saudi Arabia, I'm hesitant on how to say this, but like Saudi Arabia is not a great friend. Like of the 19 hijackers that caused 9/11, you know how many of them were Saudi Arabian?
No.
19 of the 19 were Saudi. Like there's a whole history here, but we see it as we need Saudi Arabia to be our ally in the region, and Saudi Arabia has been openly flirting with China a lot. And they, anytime that they say, "Hey, we want to do this," and we say, "No, you can't," they go, "Oh, well, China would let us do it," and then we end up giving in. So we can't afford to lose Saudi Arabia to China, is the way we look at it. So as much as I'd love to hate on Trump specifically for this, like Biden was in the process of trying to do it, and it's been going on
Yeah.
for the last couple presidencies. So
Okay.
yeah.
I
So
mean, nuclear energy, credit to Sauger, nuclear energy, he is like a huge proponent of nuclear energy, and
mm,
he's kind of turned me on that. And it's like, why don't we just build up our nuclear energy program here?
it appears to be the cleanest form of energy. It's way cleaner than coal. I guess nuclear and solar would probably be cleaner. But the thing is, there is, and I've watched a couple documentaries on this, there is a lot less risk with having nuclear energy. But when there is an incident, it makes big news. Like
Yeah.
there was a 3 Mile Island in New York, the Fukushima in
Fukushima.
Japan, Chernobyl in
Yeah.
like like it happens a lot less that there's a problem, but when there is a problem, it's a major problem. So it's one of those you risk reward. We need energy. So
Right. Well, Fukushima was what that was Japan, and they did not take care of their facilities. It was like right on the ocean, right? And I guess right the rising ocean levels kind of
so
deteriorate some of the
it was a
infrastructure.
tsunaami. There was an earthquake off the
Oh, that's
coast, and they you put a nuclear plant on water because you need to cool the nuclear reactor with a fresh source of
yeah.
water. Down there's a place I don't know if you ever fished there, but I fished there once or twice. Squaw, I think Squaw Creek or whatever
Yeah, I
reservoir.
have been there.
There's a nuclear power plant on that lake, and we used to kayak fish, and like you couldn't get near that the power plant. Like if you went on that side of the lake, there was all kinds of warning signs on the water, heavily protected. But back to
Well, they
Fukushima
shut it down on 9/11. They shut it down
for
for
fear of
like
terrorist
8
attacks.
years or something.
Yeah, they thought it was very vulnerable to terrorist attacks. That's the other thing with having, if you have nuclear power plants all around, like that's kind of a nuclear bomb waiting to be exposed by any terrorist. So I agree. I've seen a lot of stuff that nuclear energy is the future. Also, like there's a lot of risk involved in it. Like it only takes one for things to go terribly wrong. So
Yeah.
anyhow, back to the Houthis real quick. Donald Trump, after the Houthis hit these two ships, Donald Trump came out with this tweet. A year ago, the United States of America attacked very powerfully the Houthis for their interference with commerce and trade by shooting at ships. Since that time, during our conflict with Iran, they have acted very responsibly. Unfortunately, now they are starting up again, shooting two Saudi Arabian ships last night. Please let this truth serve to represent that if they do this again, the U.S. will hold Iran responsible, and in that the Houthis are a surrogate and or proxy of Iran. Major military punishment will be inflicted upon Iran and, of course, the Houthis themselves, who I'm very disappointed with in that they have, until now, acted very professionally and smart. Um, he mentioned that we attacked them a year ago. Real quick, you're going to remember this, but you remember Signalgate, where Hegseth and all of our people were texting through
Uh,
the Signal app. That was when we were attacking the Houthis. That whole incident, by the way, we were going after one military guy, and we saw him walk into an apartment building, and then we flattened the entire apartment building, which always seemed a little like, how many people did we kill there?
yeah.
Anyhow, we struck them. This is just interesting to me. This is in March 2025. We hit them with 1,000 missiles in 51 days. Okay. During that time, they were shooting missiles at our aircraft carriers that were in the Red Sea. And at one point, they shot one, and our aircraft carrier apparently had to make a tight turn to avoid getting hit by a missile. And one of our jets, I think it was an F-16 or an F-18, fell off the side of our carrier. Do you remember that whole incident?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
that was that, and then they also managed to hit an F-35 with like a surface-to-air missile. It like landed. I don't want to say safely, but it landed, and the pilot survived. But like we bombed them for 51 days straight with 1,000 missiles, and then we just stopped because we basically ran out of targets. Like they never surrendered. We never like it's like when we were fighting Afghanistan. Like we ran out of targets almost immediately, and it was like, well, what do we do now? Like there's nothing here to bomb. Same as what we're doing in Iran, though. It's like you can bomb them all day long. They're not going to surrender. Like if you think a bombing campaign is going to win this war, and
no,
for the record on that though, we've been hitting them harder. I think we're tonight's going to be the 13th straight night we've been bombing Iran, and we're hitting them harder than we have at any point before. Like we are blowing crap up in Iran. Not going to phase them. Like it would any other country maybe, but it's not going to work in Iran. I'm just telling you.
so the only option to actually win this war is to go in with boots on the ground.
Yeah, and I hate like I'm not for boots in the ground. Like right now, the two options as I see it is either we just give up, we just say, yeah, we knocked them back a couple of years. It's going to take them time to build back up. The whole mowing the grass strategy that Iran does or that Israel does in Gaza, like we could just walk away and say that, or boots on the ground, and like I don't see a third option. Like there's not. I don't think we're gonna do peace. Like a peace deal seems so far away right now. Uh,
Yeah.
on that, Marco Rubio is at some conference for the ASEAN countries right now, and I got a couple clips of him for you tonight. But they asked him about if there's going to be a deal with Iran. I want you to watch this real quick.
I just want to reiterate once again, the United States is always committed to diplomacy. We are open-minded and always willing to engage in negotiated settlements of differences, and that remains true in the case of Iran. Unfortunately, as of now, despite their direct outreaches, and Iran has been reaching out to the United States both directly and indirectly to engage in talks about settling the differences with regards to what's happening in that part of the world. Unfortunately, so far, even though we have reached agreements, they have not kept their commitments.
Okay, I got a lot to talk about here, real quick. First of all, he said that Iran has been reaching out to us directly and indirectly. All the reporting is that we sent Oman. Oman's been kind of the mediator. They're friends with us and Iran. We sent
Yeah.
them just 2 days ago to Iran to ask for a 10-day ceasefire and opening the strait again. And they said no and kicked the Omanians out. They said, nope, don't come back here with that crap. We're not doing it. We are the ones reaching out to them to try to get some kind of a ceasefire. They're not entertaining our offers, and they're not requesting anything. Trump said it in the Oval Office the other day. They want to make a deal so bad. Did nothing says that they do. The second part of that, real quick, Marco Rubio said they're the ones that keep breaking our deals. We keep making deals, and they keep breaking it. I take great exception to that. First of all,
Yeah.
the JCPOA, the Obama nuclear deal he had with them, like we backed out of that in Trump's first term in 2018 for no reason. They were meeting all the obligations of that treaty. We just said, hey, the treaty's over. We're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
During negotiations over the past almost 2 years, twice while we were negotiating with them, we bombed and killed their negotiators. Okay. Does that seem like the people that want to negotiate this? And then
Yeah.
even with the most recent MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, like that got signed, and then Israel refused to pull out of Lebanon. That was part of the deal, was the fighting stops everywhere, and it specifically said Lebanon.
Mhm.
Israel was the first to break the MOU by refusing to pull out, and then we started trying to sneak ships out the southern corridor of the Strait of Hormuz, which the fifth point in the MOU was that they control the strait, they control the traffic. So you could very easily make the argument that no, Israel and then America broke the MOU, and then Iran said, okay, this is over, we're not doing this anymore. But to try to
Yeah.
act like they're not keeping their word now. in many ways, Iran doesn't keep their word for history, for going back forever. But we're equally as guilty at the very least right now.
We're more guilty, I feel like.
I
I feel like we've broken all the international laws of peace treaties. If all
you
the
don't
rules of peace treaty, we are breaking them.
like
You
just
come up the memorandum of understanding. If you're trying to sneak ships out, when you have a memorandum of understanding that you're not going to sneak ships out,
yep. Just
that's
killing
a
their
broken treaty.
negotiating team twice within like a 4 month period. Like
That's even worse. Yes, yes, that's way worse. You don't.
what like the second time was hysterical because we met with them and they said, okay, we're going to go meet with all of our allies in the region. And they told us where they were going to do it. They were doing it in, I believe, Oman. And then we bombed that meeting where they were basically taking our stuff back to discuss it with everybody to decide if they wanted to do it or not. And we bombed that meeting. Yeah. But Iran's the one that won't keep its word. Again, Iran, in any other situation anywhere, Iran is not to be trusted. For real, 100%. But in this situation, like we're both not being like nobody's being honest, nobody's keeping their part of the deal. It's pretty crappy. So, anyhow, there is I want to set this up and like play like there's hope. There's not, but let me show you the little bit of hope we have right now. This is from Jake Sherman with Punch Bowl News. He does a great job covering the House and the Senate. But this morning, this just happened. The House has passed a war powers resolution limiting Trump's war on Iran, 214 to 208. Every Democrat and 4 Republicans voted to basically the war powers resolution, not let him make war anymore without getting approval from Congress. Yay! This has happened a couple times already, and now it has to go to the Senate. The last time it went to the Senate actually voted to limit his powers in Iran, and then Trump made a couple calls, and then they re-voted later that night, which I don't even think that's like a thing that can be done. But they basically said, the first vote didn't count. Let's do it again. And 2 of them flipped their vote because Trump had called and pressured them. So
I didn't know they could do that.
I don't like.
How do you?
They just did a revote. Like the first vote didn't count. I don't understand that at all. So
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's all that I'm not going to spend any more time on Iran. Now we have 2 straits potentially closed. Oil is back at $100 within the next 2 to 3 weeks. If we stop releasing reserves, like the moment that the reserves are out, we can't release anymore. Gas is going to exponentially jump. Like it's not going to be the little 10 cents a day, 20 cents. It's going to take a.
Well, it's not just gas; it's everything. Everything is going to go up in price, and people aren't going to be able to get to work if we run out of gas. Like, what happened? Like, what was that? The 70s when they had like a gas shortage and there was lines to get gas.
Yeah, and there was it had to do with the number on your license plate. If your license plate ended in an odd number, you got to get gas on like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If it was an even number, it was like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, whatever it was. Now, here's the thing: America is not going to run out of gas at any point in this conflict. It's because we're willing to pay for the gas. Other countries, poorer countries, will have gas shortages. We will just have $7 or $8 gas. I don't know if it'll ever really come to that much, but like in the long run, gas goes to whoever's willing to pay for it, and there's still enough gas to supply America. Certain countries like America will have gas. It'll just be so expensive that you don't want to buy it. So I don't think we're going to ever have like we're actually out of gas.
This war is basically driving the world into an economic depression.
Yeah, it is 100%.
I mean, like we're like on the brink of an economic depression.
Yeah. And you couldn't ask for anything better heading into a midterm if you're Trump is let's set the economy on fire. Whatever. On top of that, real quick before we go even further, did you see his newest move with Canada?
I heard he was yelling at him for the smoke. That's where I left off.
He's getting his revenge from the smoke.
Breaking. President Trump imposes 50% tariff on a range of Canadian goods, claiming unfair treatment over U.S. autos, alcohol, and cheese.
Cool. So yeah, let's
idiot.
And he also is trying to restart 10% global tariffs. His previous tariffs got knocked down by the Supreme Court. He basically needed to show the work to have some evidence as to why we need the tariffs, and he's had people working on that. And now he's going to do a 10% blanket tariff across the world, but 50% on Canada because of how mean they've been to us. It's still crazy to me that like a good part of the country right now sees Canada as an enemy. Like that's nuts.
It's nuts. That's so crazy.
They're
Do they really? Like I haven't heard.
they're trying to get us. Yeah, they've been treating us unfairly. They've been taking advantage of us. It's time that we strike back. There there's a movie from the 80s called Canadian Bacon with John Candy that I think everybody should go back and watch right now. It's where America goes to war with Canada. It's hysterical, it's a comedy, but at the same time, like I feel like we're living it right now. Anyhow, um, I got one more clip of Marco Rubio for you. And this one is, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about China, but we're going to talk about it for just a second. Donald Trump, what was it, a week ago? A week ago today? Yeah. Had his election interference speech where he said that China is trying to influence our elections, right? Remember all that? By the way,
Yep.
boy, did that die in a hurry. He gave that speech and it was like it never happened. Like everybody, including Republicans, Fox News, everybody just moved on. Nobody wanted to talk about that at all.
No.
So interesting.
It was such a bad speech, and it was evident, like any evidence that he actually said, there were so many lies in the speech. Let's start off with that. And then any evidence that he actually said was already evidence we had.
It was, and what I've been trying to figure out exactly what he released. Everything he released, we already knew because it was, this is the best part. It was in a 2021 Senate intelligence report that was released by Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio was the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee. They compiled this big report using all this raw data and they gave us like a report saying what all the data says. But they didn't release the raw data itself because you never do that. You just say, here's what we know. Well, what he did is he released the underlying data for what was already released to us. And that, like, basically, we just never saw the raw data. Now we're seeing the raw intelligence to back up everything that 2021 report says. So anyhow, that's what he did. Marco Rubio, for him to act like this is new earth-shattering evidence, like he's the one that ran the committee that released the report. He knew all this already. Anyhow, back to China. China was the main culprit that night, and China and Venezuela, but China is trying to influence our elections. If you remember, they're trying to make it seem like Donald Trump's not hot, when in fact, he is hot, but they're trying to make us think he's not. Anyhow, we're going to talk about Cuba next. Cuba's under the gun right now. We're about to do something major to Cuba, but we're doing it because they are communist and they are trying to influence what's going on in America. China is the largest communist party in the world, and according to Trump, they are trying to influence our elections. If you're influencing our elections, then therefore aren't you trying to influence what's happening in America, theoretically?
Yes.
Marco Rubio doesn't see it that way. Check this out.
You and the president have been very blunt in your anti-communist language. Recently, you put out that recent report on Cuba. Don't you think it's inconsistent in that you haven't addressed the same issues with China? They're the largest communist party in the world, 100 million.
Yeah, but our issues with communist interference inside of our country. Like, that report was about what these different elements do to interfere in our country and to undermine our foreign policy.
The president recently talked about Chinese election interference in the U.S., and as we know, there are many other ways in which China has influence within the U.S.
Well, again, what the president put out on Thursday, that was a declassification of documents from our intelligence community. That's what he put out. He declassified intelligence assessments from our intelligence community. But your question was about communist influence. Yeah, the United States doesn't want to be a communist country. We're never going to be a communist country, and we're not going to allow communist influences to undermine our politics or our society. So I don't know what the inconsistency you're referring to is. It's very clear. Obviously we understand the Chinese system and other systems, but I can tell you our system doesn't want communism, and we're certainly not going to allow communist efforts to undermine American society and drive wedges into our country, and that's what we're seeing. And by the way, one of the leading culprits of that for many years, the intellectual authors, particularly in our hemisphere, is the Cuban regime, which our report on Monday outlined.
Let's get to socialism first, and then maybe we can start thinking about communism.
The whole goal of what they're doing right now is to conflate socialism is communism. And I told you this a couple of shows ago, but the saying is communism always walks in through the front door disguised as socialism is what they're saying now. But real quick,
communism, so China's not even a communist country. Communism has never actually worked because of greed. I mean, we went over this a while ago, because of greed and the people like him. But yes, socialism is the start of communism. It's like the beginning of communism. And communism is actually like a mecca of like what we should all thrive to be,
Yeah.
where
And
like everybody works together and benefits from the system and everybody puts in what they can to make our society a better place. That's the dream of communism.
yeah, it's a utopian dream that's not really attainable. It's never going to be,
And
is
we
what I'm
act like
saying.
it's like the devil's work.
Yeah. It's
It's so stupid.
anyhow, to back up what Rubio said there, because this kills me. Rubio was like, no, 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 no. What I'm saying is that Cuba is trying to infiltrate and influence what's going on in America. You're talking about China, which is only messing with our elections, not the same thing. And it's like 100% the same thing. Like, and also, hold on, Cuba's trying to infiltrate. Cuba is trying to infiltrate America. Okay, I need to see an example of that. Wait a second. You know what? He's got a point. There is a Cuban that is high in our government right now. You know who that is? Marco fucking Rubio. Marco Rubio's the Cuban Secretary of State of America. I guess he's talking about himself. He is
Oh.
reaching the highest levels of I don't know. Let's take a look real quick because this is interesting. Marco Rubio and the State Department released a report about Cuba on Monday, I believe.
For more than 6 decades, the Cuban regime has been the leading sponsor of radical leftism and third worldism in the United States. Oh my gosh. The State Department is exposing the full history of Cuban espionage and subversion. You know what? You're probably right. He might be the infiltrator.
He might be. But hold on. Let's read that last part again. The State Department is exposing the full history of Cuban espionage and subversion in our country. The American people deserve to know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not familiar with any Cuban espionage. Like there's not a vast Cuban spy network in America that I've heard about my whole life. Maybe it's there. I don't know. From inside that report, real quick, this paragraph just killed me. These various threads can be understood through the prism of the Cuban regime's ideological foundation, imbued by its founder with the singular goal of conquering the neighboring United States. So we haven't been aware, but since 1959, Cuba has been attempting to conquer the United States. Okay. How? I mean, we've had them under embargo since then. They are the poorest, one of the poorest countries in the world. I don't have numbers on that, but I'm just going to tell you they're really poor.
Do they
Life
have a
in,
navy?
I don't know if they might have a couple boats. I'm not familiar with Cuba's army or navy. Um, they're trying to conquer America, is what Marco Rubio put out on Monday. Cuba has been trying to conquer us, so he's setting it up like this is going to be a defensive mission. This is a defensive strike we're about to take on Cuba because they have been attacking us this whole time.
You know, are there any wars down in South America?
Oh man, I'm glad you brought that up. So if we're going to talk about countries that have been destabilizing the region, because that's what Marco Rubio said, is that Cuba is destabilizing the region. This is every government that we have overthrown in Latin America since 1954. And it's
Oh my
interesting,
gosh.
'cause if you look, the last two were in 2019 and 2026. 2026 was Maduro when we kidnapped him. But even in 2019, we took out the leader of Bolivia, 2009, Honduras before that. Like, there is one country that's been running around destabilizing the region, the American hemisphere, and it's America. Like, this is kind of hysterical to me that we're accusing Cuba of trying to destabilize our hemisphere, and this is our track
Yeah.
record.
But no South American countries are fighting each other.
I don't believe so. I'm not positive of that, but I don't think
And I
so.
don't remember in my lifetime them ever having like a war down there. Maybe like the cartels a little bit, but
There's been like civil wars down there. There's been wars
okay.
within
But
countries.
no
I
country versus country.
not that I and I maybe I'm missing a big one, but not that I can remember. I honestly drawn a blank there.
But they're all poor because of us, basically.
Yep.
And so being poor leads to peace.
Because
So
you
then
don't
you
have an
go over
army.
to,
You can't attack another country if you don't have the money to have an army. That's kind of
yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
So anyhow, Rubio has made it clear that Cuba is still like It looked like we were going to do Venezuela and then do a quick Iran thing and then go straight to Cuba. The Iran thing has drawn out now, what, 5 months? And it's stopped us from being able to go straight to Cuba like we wanted. So a lot of people were like, huh, maybe we're not going to do Cuba now. It's almost getting too close to the midterms to try to do Cuba. Everything Marco Rubio released on Monday and what he's been saying all week about it makes me think, no, 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 like it does, we're going to do Cuba as soon as we can. I don't know what stopped us from doing it already. And I don't think it's going to be hard. Cuba will be like Venezuela. We will conquer Cuba in a day. It's not going to be a big deal. But also, like, why? Like, James Tallarico, I should have pulled the clip, but he said that in America, he said this just the other day. He said, in America, we are closing schools and hospitals so that we can bomb schools and hospitals abroad. And I was just like, that's a great line right there, buddy. Anyhow, get ready, Cuba. It's coming.
I don't know what. Yeah.
Yep. And then speaking of Venezuela, this has been in several papers. I pulled one of the headlines, but the U.S. has collected about 13 billion of Venezuela's oil money. Where is it? I don't know if you remember, but completely illegally, we decided that we were going to control the sale of Venezuelan oil, and that money was not going to go into our treasury where it normally would go. Donald Trump set up like overseas accounts for this money to go into that the government, like our Congress and Senate, have no access to oversee or nothing. Donald Trump has a secret offshore account somewhere where Venezuelan oil money's going, and we don't know where it's
I
gone.
knew this was going to happen. Like we could have put, like he's just stealing.
The most
Okay.
predictable thing ever. So in the New Yorker, and I don't know where they got this evidence, but they say the Trump administration has control of Venezuela's oil revenues and has authorized the disbursement of more than $6 billion to the Rodriguez government, according to a senior official. So of the 13 billion, 6 billion of it we've given back to them to run their government. We're keeping more than half. We've kept 7 billion. Where is it?
Not we, Trump.
What's it being used for? Like, that's the reason that this should have been given to the Treasury is because the U.S. government and us, the taxpayers, should have a right to know where that money's going, what it's being used for. This is a slush fund. Like,
No, it
there's
should 100% go back to Venezuela. The people of Venezuela.
like, if of all the like, there's so much other things going on that are more important, but like, this is the easiest investigation. Like, if the Democrats take back the House or the House and the Senate, like, this one's quick. Where's the $7 billion? Show us a paper trail. I mean, should be immediately
Okay.
investigated. So,
Yeah.
anyhow,
Well,
just thought that was funny. The thing that we all knew was going to happen when Donald Trump announced that he was setting up an offshore account for this, it's happened. There's half of the money is missing and unaccounted for.
how much? Pete Hegseth was in front of Congress the other day. How much was he asking for?
Oh, so I think they got, what was it?
Who they
95.
gave to him?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, so the House has passed it, but the Senate has not voted on it yet. I was really hoping that hearing was going to be a lot of fireworks, and it really kind of let me down. Jon Ossoff was the only one that had a really good line of questioning, which we're going to talk Ossoff in a minute. But other than that, like, kind of, I don't know. I wasn't pleased with how the Democrats attacked it. He claimed because he had previously said that it was roughly like 30 billion is how much we've spent on the war, and he claims that their new estimate is 37.5 or 39.5 billion that we've. It's 100 billion. Everybody who's doing independent estimates says it's easily 100, but they asked for like it was like I think like I'm going to get this wrong, but it was like 90 billion or something like that. 95 billion is what they're asking for. And part of that is because Donald Trump announced that he wants the National Guard to stay in DC through the midterms. So 800 million of that was to keep why would he want the National Guard to stay in DC with the midterms coming up? I don't know. I'm just, he's building a bunker. He's got the National Guard there to defend him. Nothing to see here, buddy. So anyhow, and then, sorry. I don't know enough about this to even talk about it, but the headline's hysterical to me.
Trump administration weighing military options in Mali, officials say. Where is Mali at?
I don't even know where Mali's at, and I have no clue why we're weighing military options there. Like I said, I did no research on this. I guess I'll look it up for next time. But the fact that we're the president of peace, the FIFA Peace Prize winner that demands a Nobel Peace Prize, is attacked Venezuela, threatened Greenland and Canada, attacked Iran, currently threatening Cuba, and now, I guess, considering doing something with Mali. Mali or Mali. I don't know how to say it.
It's in Northwest Africa.
Does it? Can you Google real quick and see like why we might possibly be attacking Mali? Mali? I guess I got to figure out how to say that if we're going to talk about it. But
Trump mulling military strikes. Oh, Mali militant group. There's a militant group there. Yeah, I mean, I guess.
okay, well, anyhow,
I don't know. Yeah, Peace Prize winner attacks ninth country in a year and a half.
like I said, I didn't even feel the need to look that up. I just think it's funny that we're considering striking yet another country. So cool. That's all I can say is cool. So anyhow,
So Mali will be 9, Cuba will be 10. Or Cuba will
yeah.
be 9 and
Well, and
Mali will
actually,
be
we're missing some because we had military strikes in like it wasn't Colombia, but like Ecuador or some Latin American country. We were striking cartels down there.
okay.
And then also we had strikes in it's one of the African countries where Trump said Christians were being killed, Sudan or I don't know, one of those. So
Well,
we've had
Sudan is where Sudan is a horrible, horrible situation. It's
yeah,
a genocide for sure.
but like in the past 6 months, we've had like little strikes in different countries that we're not even talking about. Like our military's struck a couple different countries.
I
Anyhow,
think Pete Hegseth he's got a trigger finger. He's got a happy, what is it called? A
he's got a
happy
quick
trigger finger.
yeah, quick trigger finger or something like that.
Yeah.
And looking back on this, we should have seen like me and you kind of did see this coming, but like when they were so insistent that we change the name Department of Defense to Department of War, like that was foreshadowing what this whole presidency is going to be about. Like we're here to do war. Remember Trump said on Easter, he was like, "We can't do Medicare and Medicaid. We have war to fight." And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what's going on here. Like awesome. We have wars to fight, docs.
We have wars to fight. Dude,
Yeah.
this is so daunting. November, everybody fucking vote.
Yeah. Which
Get your ass out there and vote.
Fox News had a new poll, and it shows Democrats have the lead on the generic ballot by like 7 or 8 points right now. So theoretically, the House should be a lock. The Senate, Fox News is trying to make it seem like, oh, we're going to lose the Senate. I still don't buy it. Like they have to win either Texas. I think they have to win two out of these four: Texas, Maine, Alaska, and Iowa. And like I find it hard. I think they could win Maine, maybe
Yeah.
Texas. I don't. I love Tallarico. I don't think he can do it. Iowa. I don't know why anybody thinks.
You don't think Tallarico's gonna do it?
I don't. I think he's gonna fall just short. It's
Uh,
just like Beto and every. It
Well,
always feels like there's
what
a
were all of
chance.
Cornyn's faults here? What like
Paxton, you mean? Because he's running against Ken
Oh yeah,
Paxton. Yeah,
Paxton, that's right.
Ken
Yeah,
Paxton's possibly a worse candidate than Ted Cruz, which I didn't think was possible. And he's embroiled in all kinds of scandals. He got impeached by the Republican Texas House like for scandals. We could spend a whole episode on all the things he's done that he's been in trouble for. Doesn't matter. I just find it hard to believe Texas is going to go purple, and I hope I'm wrong. And also, like for them to go purple, they would need the African American vote in Texas, like that, or to go blue, they would need the African American vote. There's a whole thing going on down there where everybody's blaming Jasmine Crockett. I don't know for sure what her level of involvement is, but somebody is riling up black Democrats to basically go against Tallarico, saying like he did Jasmine Crockett wrong and this and that, and like he's facing pushback, and a lot of Democrats are like, this is Jasmine Crockett needs to get out there on stage with him and try to get all of her supporters, and she's not
yeah.
really doing that. She's kind of just she's like, oh, something nothing to do with me. Anyhow, like that, he's dead in
Come
the
on,
water.
Jasmine.
Yeah, he's dead in the water without the black vote in Texas, and it seems like right now he does not have to say the least, he doesn't have a firm grasp on it right now. Like and he announced in the last couple of days that they're going to spend 25 million in African American outreach for their campaign. And I don't unless what needs to happen is him and Jasmine Crockett need to be on stage together and make it clear. And I think from what I've read, he's trying to do that, and she's like, no, I'm out. Like you beat me, you got this, buddy. And it's like,
Well,
really,
Jasmine Crockett, if you're listening, get on stage with Tallarico. Like
yeah.
support him. Full stop. You like this is good for you. This is good for your state. This is good for everybody.
And realistically, like I think that Jasmine Crockett could do more to try to fix this. Realistically, what's probably happened, and Republicans are sneaky in elections, and it's you got to play to win. I don't blame them for this, but like they tried to run Kanye West in the presidential election because they thought that it would siphon off black voters from the Democrats. Like they do shit like this all the time, and if there's somebody behind the scenes, online, whatever, that's really a Republican but trying to rile up black Democrats against Tallarico, like that totally would make sense to me.
Yeah.
But Jasmine Crockett could do a lot to try to fix this. Anyhow, that's my words.
Let's go, Jasmine. Come on, Jasmine. We need you.
So, anyhow, I only got one thing left for you, and I have been talking to you about Jon Ossoff for what, 6 months, a year, something like that. Like,
yeah,
I'm a big Ossoff fan.
Have you written him that love letter yet?
Not yet. I should. I would do things with Jon Ossoff. I love him that much. Again, in the hearing with Ossoff the other day, with Hegseth the other day, he was great. I almost pulled that clip, but it was long. But there is new polling out on Jon Ossoff, and I'm going to let your favorite pollster, Harry Anton, tell you about it.
Why is this Ossoff's America? And that is because Jon Ossoff is hot-lanted. One of the reasons why that Jon Ossoff is climbing in the cash prediction markets is there's a lot of interest in Jon Ossoff, not just in Georgia, but nationally. What are we looking at here? Well, take a look here. Google searches for Jon Ossoff up 300% versus last July. That perhaps isn't so surprising, given, of course, he is running for re-election. But I will note, it's the most ever for him in a July. Most ever for him in July. So it's not just interest within Georgia, it is interest in Jon Ossoff nationally, and that is one of the reasons why he is, of course, making a lot of news, and also one of the reasons why he's climbing in those Kalshi prediction markets is because he's making a lot of news. Just take a look at historic Dem performances, Georgia Dems for Senate this century. Look at this. The biggest win was Raphael Warnock back in 2022. He won by that race by 3 points. Look at how much Jon Ossoff was ahead in a recent Fox News poll. He was up 13 points. You carry Georgia, you put that into an electoral map, that makes the map and the math much easier if you're a Democratic candidate running for United States Senate. You show you can win in a swing state, and then, of course, you give those spiels that have been going all over social media, which is one of the reasons why his Google searches are so high. You say, hey, this is a coalition that might actually work.
And there are, what, 77 million other reasons why?
Yeah, I would just say, look at this, 77 million, top fundraiser for Senate this century. Money is what makes a presidential bid go, and he's shown an ability to raise a lot of it, the top fundraiser this cycle.
Okay.
He is in Georgia. Georgia is, I'll say it's purple. It's more red than purple. He's up 13 points on the Trump-backed Republican in his race right now. That's a little ridiculous. That's the kind of guy that can win nationally. You need to win these swing states. Also, he has a good team behind him. Everybody always tries to give credit to the president or whoever it is. No, it's the team behind them. But every weekend they have him giving a speech somewhere, and then they clip it into little 1-minute clips, and then they put it to music, and they have it out online and digitally, like through social network. They are doing a fantastic job. So
blasting it.
Jon Ossoff needs to either be the presidential nominee, or if he doesn't win the primary, he needs to be the VP, just to bring, like, there's a lot of, like, Democrats have this fever dream of trying to get the moderate Republicans, the people that they're Republicans, but they don't like Trump, and it never works. Jon Ossoff's the guy that can do it. I'm just saying. So pair him with anybody, and I'm happy.
Okay. Yeah. So presidential frontrunner, but we got 2.5 years left. So
plenty of time. And he's only right. So, and things can turn on a dime, but so far, every time he's in front of a mic, whether it be in a Senate hearing or whether it be on a speech somewhere, like he's continuing to rise. There could be, and Trump is very aware of this now. Republicans are aware that Ossoff is a problem. Trump gave a speech in Georgia the other night, mainly because his handpicked, I think the guy's name's Mike Collins. This guy, terrible pick, but it's who Trump wanted to win. The Republican governor of Georgia really wanted another candidate that was way less problematic, and Trump came in and put his full weight behind Mike Collins, and of course Mike Collins won the primary. Mike Collins' son-in-law is a straight up Nazi. Like, he is a white Nazi. Yeah, there's videos of him, and anyhow, a lot of problems with Mike Collins. But Trump went down to Georgia, I think 2 nights ago, to do a little rally and tell everybody how great the economy is and how good he's really doing, and how he was whining about affordability again. Affordability is a made-up hoax by the Democrats and this and that. But he was there to help Mike Collins, and therefore he has to attack Jon Ossoff. He tried to come up with a new nickname for Jon Ossoff. This is a short clip. Let's hear what Trump has to say.
And yet, your terrible Senator Jon Ossoff, he's terrible. And the Democrats in Congress are voting with the communists every single time. They're afraid of the communists. You look at it. Now, I fought Ossoff before, as you know, and we won. We had a great success against this guy. He reminds me of Pinky Herman. Did you ever see Pinky Herman? Jon Ossoff and the congressional Democrats voted.
Pinky Herman? Like, he was reading that off the teleprompter. It's Pee Wee Herman. Did the person writing the speech say, did they type in Pinky Herman, or did he read that wrong? Also, because Trump never backs down and never admits he was wrong, he's going to keep calling him Pinky Herman, and he's going to try to justify it. He's going to go, no, of course I know Pee Wee Herman. I'm calling him Pinky Herman because, and he's going to try to explain why, because he can't just say he said it wrong the first time. But Pinky Herman. I think Jon Ossoff should lean into that. I think he should come out dressed as Pee Wee Herman at some point. Do it, John.
Just a couple, just do a couple of like shorts, YouTube shorts or something.
Also, he said there that he's gone up against Ossoff and beat him bad. Ossoff ran for office twice and won both times. I am struggling to figure out where Donald Trump has beaten Jon Ossoff ever, but maybe I'm missing something. I could be missing something, but anyhow, go Jon Ossoff.
Huh. I'm trying to figure out how many people went to that rally.
Oh, the Trump one in Georgia the other day?
Yeah.
It looked small, but you can never tell.
Well, it sounded pretty big. That's why I was like when they booed him, it sounded like, oh, there's people there. But they never pan out anymore.
Yeah, and that's what I would love it if one person would go to every rally, left, right, whoever it is, and at some point take the camera and do a 360 and show us how many people there. Because there's times where it looks like they're in a Democrat or Republican. This isn't a Trump thing, but it'll look like, oh wow, they drew a big crowd, and then you see like a shot from the back, and they're in like a high school gymnasium. Like there's not a lot of people in there, and a gymnasium can sound really loud if everybody starts booing. So. Sure. I don't know why. Like, why doesn't one? There's always reporters there. Why doesn't one take a panoramic view and show me who's there?
I think they do. I think Trump has, he's got a lock on the media, and he goes after people who actually show stuff like that.
Yeah. Real quick, the last thing I'm going to say. Speaking of lock on the media, right before we came on today, Carolyn Levitt gave a press briefing from the White House. Those don't happen very often anymore. Those used to be a daily thing, and they really don't happen. Like the Pentagon also, we're in the middle of a war. The Pentagon hasn't given a briefing in 2.5 months, just throwing that out there. But it was about an hour before we started recording, and I was like, oh shit, Carolyn Levitt's coming on. Let me see if there's anything else to add to our show. What's going to happen? And it was the shortest briefing ever. She never once got asked about Iran. Like Iran just didn't come up. The questions were like, how does the president feel about self-driving cars? And then she was like, oh, the president actually has bought several of them for his family. It was complete control of the media and who's in that room. Like I don't know who was in the room, but they didn't call on anybody that was going to challenge them for anything. It was, tell us, hey, the president's looking real good these days. Tell us why he's so thin. That didn't really get asked, but it was basically like, how does the president stay so young looking? Like it was those kind of questions
Just
where it was
fluff. Just garbage fluff. Yeah, they didn't call on Caitlin Collins.
No. Maggie Haberman, Caitlin Collins, all the ones that would actually push back didn't get a word in. So, and she ended it real quick. I want to say it was probably 5 or 6 questions that were all easy softballs. And then, okay. And at the end, she was like, the president's going to be speaking to you twice today. See you later. And took off. And it was just like, so yeah, we got more Trump. Trump will be speaking from the Oval Office here in a little bit, I guess. So,
man, they're, for being the most transparent president ever, administration ever.
That's the funny, because they always point at how often he talks to the media. He talks to the media once a day, sometimes 3 times a day. And it's like, well, yeah, it doesn't matter if he's lying or not answering questions. Like, if he gets asked a hard question, he goes, who are you with, ABC? You guys are sleazebags. And then he just moves on. And it's like, he didn't answer any hard questions. How is that transparency? I don't know. So.
Nope.
Yep.
Fuck.
Anyhow.
Okay.
As I said at the beginning and end of last show, buy your gas. If you need gasoline, you should get it. Well, last night is when the Houthis blew up 2 ships in the Bab Al-Mendeb. I'm going to have trouble saying that. The Bab Al-Mendeb Strait. gas hasn't gone up since yesterday where I'm at. It was 389 yesterday. It's still 389. I find it hard to believe that it's stopping anytime soon. I think we're going to be north of the national average is over $4 right now. Where I'm at's at 389. I'd say you should continue to keep your tank topped off because we're on the way up right now. We're not on the way down. So that's my advice to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed this morning the Dow's down a percentage of a point, a percentage. S&P's down over a percent, Nasdaq's down 2.
Well, and this is people are talking about this. I don't know that it means anything yet, but Israel has reopened all of its bomb shelters, which they did this right before the 12-day war started. But they've reopened all their public shelters, and then France and the UK have pulled all their diplomats out of all the embassies in that region: Iraq, Iran, Kuwait. So it seems like there's a fear that we are about to majorly escalate this because we're under the current. We have to get this figured out in about the next 2 or 3 weeks, or gas prices go nuts. We're not going to do ground troops, it looks like. So all we can do is just keep hitting the shit out of them. And there again, this is
back off. Peace, President.
right,
Let's go.
We could surrender.
Surrender.
Also, not being covered by our news at all, or very little. But all those Gulf countries are taking major hits. Our bases are taking major hits. There was a hotel that apparently we had evacuated one of the bases in Jordan and had all of our Navy and Air Force guys like in a hotel, and they hit that with drones the other day, and that hotel was on fire. I don't know if there's casualties or what. There's been 5 U.S. casualties in the past week from that, so the count went from 13 to 18 pretty quick. Seems like I guess if I had a guess, I would say Trump's going to go all out. He's going to do a big bombing campaign for 2 more weeks and then claim, we hit him hard enough. It'll take him years to rebuild. We're going home. And then he'll move on to Cuba. Like, I think that's where we're at. So, but that's not going to get oil flowing through the strait again. So I think he's in a pickle right now. Like, I don't know, you asked earlier about ground troops. Like, I am so not in favor of ground troops, but like at this point, like, I'd almost say if I was advising Trump, like, I think we got to do ground troops. Like, I hate to say that, but like, that's the only way oil starts flowing again. Like, if you care about the American economy, ground troops is kind of the answer at this point. And I'm not saying I want that. I'm just saying it's the only thing.
What's the percentage that we actually win with ground troops? I mean, we tried this in Afghanistan.
It depends on what
did not work.
It depends on what you call win. Could we get the Strait of Hormuz reopened? Yes.
You think we could take the whole strait?
I think if we were willing to put enough boots on the ground, we could get the strait flowing again. But
then we're in another 20-year war.
Yeah. So again, how do you define win? Like, did we win the war in Afghanistan? We won the military battles, but at the end of the day, like, we left and it went right back to what it was. Like, that's what would happen.
We spent how many billions of dollars over those 20 years?
Probably trillions of dollars. Like, honestly, It's ridiculous. So. Yeah.
So stupid. The war is fucking dumb.
There is no victory on the horizon. Like, there's just how bad is it going to be when we leave? And are we going to leave in 2 weeks? Are we going to leave in 6 months? Or are we going to leave in 20 years? Like, that's what we have to decide.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I got.
I just want to say that Donald Trump is the worst thing that has ever happened to this entire world.
No, I mean, I'd still put Hitler above him. Right? You got to. Hitler killed like 6 million people. Let's be real about
Hitler, Mussolini. Okay, he's like 3rd or 4th on the list. He's just before the asteroid that wiped out the planet.
I'm going to put together a list for you because I think he's probably more down like 15 to 20 range because, like, we're forgetting Mao, Genghis Khan, Stalin. Even I would put Stalin above him as far as So there's a lot. Let's be real. In our lifetime, Donald Trump might be the worst thing that's happened to the world. In history, no. There's a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So, anyhow, have a good Thursday.
Everybody, get gas.
Yes.
Register to vote.
Yes.
And like and subscribe.
Check the registry. If you're already registered, check and make sure you're still registered and you haven't been purged from the voter rolls. That's a key thing. Like, we need to start sounding that alarm leading up to the midterms because they're removing people. Just, we thought you were an illegal. We didn't know. We thought you might be dead. We're pulling you off. So make sure
especially if you're in a red state.
Check your registration status is what I will say. So anyhow, have a great Thursday, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.